Thank you for joining this session. Just waiting for more people to join, and then I'll speak about today's session. Meantime, some music for you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining, and I welcome you all from the bottom of my heart to this first episode of what I have titled Ask Amano, Opening Windows Worldwide. And after this welcome music, I'll play again during this session. And very happy, very excited to do this. It has been on my mind since long time, but I was just hesitating when to do. Finally, I decided it's time, just do it. And thank you so much again. Now these sessions are meant to share my perspective of spiritual journeys, ascension journeys, whatever you can call them. And if it resonates with you, please take away, apply it in your lives, apply it in your ascension journeys, and see what impact or influence did it make to your meditations. Let me just in brief first explain why this title Ask Amano, because it doesn't mean that I have all the answers in the world about spirituality or meditation, inner journeys. No, it's not about question and answer. Now, this is just a clickbait kind of title to initiate something from your side, because it needs to be a little bit interactive. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask them regarding your ascension journeys, your meditation journeys, inner journey, you can call any name. So Ask Amano means I'm just throwing ball in your court and saying, okay, let's start this game. And the subtitle, Opening Windows Worldwide. This is also a little bit metaphorical, because when you see this, when you see your mobile device, whichever you are using, and it's like a window. It opens, the internet opens worldwide through this window. And metaphorically also, when we talk about spiritual insights, something opens, which was probably already ready to be opened. It's not that we have to break walls or some kind of heist thing is needed. No, just a small knock and it opens. Sometimes later on, when you are more advanced, more sensitive, more conscious about these things, even a knock is not needed. Just a mention, just a remembrance, and it's there. The world opens. because you open. You are the window. You are the one seeing through the window, and you are the one which is outside the window waiting for you because there is no window. Windows are our belief systems. Walls are our belief systems. It, the whole free will choice here is, the whole prerogative here is us. We cannot say, blame why God or something is not opening windows, why we are stuck, why this is happening, why that is not happening. The prerogative lies always on us, on you, on me. So, the subtitle, Opening Windows Worldwide. If you have any questions you can think about, send me as a message here and I will talk something about it. But in the meantime, I will just say something about the title of this episode, Illusion of Growth. Now, just like this window I am metaphorically referring to, is just a metaphor. There's no wall, window, or anything. These are the the symbols we use to convey something which is just obvious. All spiritual journey, growth, expansion, whatever you can call, works on the principle of law of obviosity. Everything is obvious. Nothing is hidden behind seven doors that you have to unlock one door after another, and this happens and that happens. And yes, there are stages, and these doors are also perhaps being called metaphorically, symbolically. Basically, in reality, nothing is there. This nothingness has no story, and that's why we cannot relate to it. Because we are used to relating to stories. We live our lives with our own stories. But the moment we step out of our own comfort zones, our own world that we have created for ourselves, or even go near its boundaries, we feel scared because then there is nothing, pure nothingness. What to make out of it? What to say, what not to say, what to understand? There's nothing here. There's no characters, there's no hero, there's no heroine, there's no villain, there's no script. Where would you go from there? So, spiritual journeys usually take us to this point. Why I call growth an illusion? Not that growth is a wrong word, but from spiritual perspective means from the perspective of this nothingness. From this perspective, there is no growth because there is anyway nothing. Everything is as it should be, is from that perspective, not from our 3D world perspective. From that perspective, already there is oneness. Already there is dimensions of infinite bliss and expansion. But from our perspective, because we are in this third dimensional, three-dimensional world, sometimes referred to as matrix, where we understand things linearly. I'm not saying horizontally, but linearly. Linearly, we understand time. It was past, now is present, then will be future. We understand space also, that we moved from A to B. Any degree could be possible, vertical here and there, wherever. That's what I'm not using this word horizontal. Movement can be in any direction, any degree. But the perspective is linear. Perspective is always linear in this dimension. So spiritual journeys are also breaking through this perspective of linearity and crossing some thresholds, trying to reach or align with other dimensions, higher dimensions. Now, higher, lower is not judgmental here, just a matter of frequencies. In our spiritual growth, we align. We don't grow as such. We simply align. And the consciousness simply expands. Expansion means it starts to include more aspects of life that we understand, or some deeper meanings of aspects that we already thought we understood. So, the whole perspective is that expansion is inclusive. Consciousness, as it expands from our side, because we are in this individuated consciousness. From our individuated consciousness's perspective, things are linear, things expand, consciousness expands, alignment happens. Because we feel that we are trapped in the lower densities, and we now want to upgrade ourselves to less dense dimensions, timelines, or realities for us. This is an aspiration, and that is why spiritual students are also called aspirants. I use this word aspirant all the time because it perfectly describes what a seeker seeks. Now, seeker is also a myth, aspirant is also a myth, but for the sake of arbitration, for the sake of this conversation, for the sake of discussions, we would use these words. So, from our perspective, growth, it does feel that we have grown spiritually after some meditations, after going through some inner cleansing or some transformations, maybe some breakthroughs. We do feel that way, and this is not wrong at all. This is human beings' individuated perspective. Nothing wrong in that. It's natural to feel that way. But from a spiritual perspective, nothing really is added to anything. Consciousness simply reveals more that was already there. That is why spirituality is also called revelation. It reveals. It reveals more of you, maybe more of other things, more of whichever direction you are going. It reveals more of it. So it feels like things are being revealed insights are triggered or occurred or happened to you. And all of these things contribute to this word illusion. Because there's no need for all of this, but we still prefer these phrases, these vocabularies from our linear perspectives, which are totally fine, totally human, and nothing wrong in that. But from spiritual perspective, this word growth is a bit illusionary because nothing is growing from small to big, from less to more. We are simply expanding in consciousness and aligning to higher frequency bandwidths. How this happens is a different subject. I will talk about it in some other episode. But spiritual journeys in this context are felt like this as a growth is happening. So this is the illusion every aspirant in the beginning of his or her spiritual journey feels, goes through, and it's all natural. I can elaborate more on this if you like. I'm waiting for some more people to join in the meantime. So like I explained, why this title Ask Amano? Not because I know all the answers and you know all the questions and will just I will just answer them like an AI app. No. Every step in a spiritual journey is an investigation. Your own investigation. It is an investigative project, let's say. Everyone has to find his own groove here. How he or she understands, perceives reality for himself or herself. That is why I say spiritual journey from my understanding and experience is roughly and mainly divided into, let's say, two parts. First one I call a bit analytical. Analytical because it it is it is involved more from our mind center. I call it mind center because first you need to understand who you are as your personality, your persona. You need to understand this also. What are your belief systems, good or bad? What are your fears? What are your wounds, issues that triggers you? What are maybe some addictions you have? Nowadays, almost all have some kind of addiction. So, what are we doing with all these things? Not that we have to do some PhD on all of this, but just to understand it enough so that we know in general, if not in particular, deeply particular like an expert, but in at least in general, in some way, that we understand first our personality, our type, our persona, because this is how we carry ourselves in this world, in this in the society. So we need to understand from this perspective or this part first. This could be the first step anyone can take in their spiritual journeys, because this part is preparatory. This part prepares yourself for the next part, which is the real thing. Like I said, mind center. And if you have done all your inner work, shadow work, whatever way you like to prefer it to be called, then you understand yourself in a very important way, vital way, I would say, because now you are vulnerable. Now you are not pretending. Now you are not uh, manipulating. Now you are not political about yourself, because you know from inside out who you are personality wise. There is an honesty, there's a sincerity, and there is an acceptance of who you are at that level. You are not judging your persona, then your personality, then you accept it, because as you understand, you accept, you acknowledge, because understanding brings acknowledgement if it is done in the right way. There can be no judgment. If I am like this, I am like this. This could be a trait, good. This could be a trait, not so good. Doesn't matter. From my side, no judgment. Because I'm accepting myself from on this level at least. So, this is the first part done from the mind center. And if you graduate from this, then there is another test. Because then you come to towards the heart center. Now, heart center will really test you. Not in a not in a torturous way or very complicated way. No, in all ascension processes, there is no complexity. Actually, we are dissolving complexities. In the mind center, what we did, we dissolved complexities. We made our own story simplest script as possible. Very simple script. Like I said, law of obviousity comes through. We understand it now and we even use it because it's obvious who we are to ourselves. And that acceptance in the first step will pave way for you to step towards the next level, towards the heart center. I'm not saying the heart chakra. Chakras are different. We'll talk about it some other time. But these bifurcations are just arbitrary. not literal, but just to understand from our human perspective. I'm just breaking it into all these things: first stage, second stage, and all that. So, if we have done our shadow work good enough and we had the courage to look into ourselves, look into our belief systems with sincerity, no judgment, if we had courage of addressing our fears, our triggers, belief systems, and all of that, maybe addictions, then we have, in this preparatory phase, prepared ourselves well enough to be allowed to the heart center. Because unless you are this vulnerable, this sincere, and this naked, that you have the courage to stand under the sun naked, then only you become eligible to move towards the heart center. Because heart center is like a furnace of love. Furnace of love. It has a fire that purifies, transmutes everything, any debris, karmic or otherwise, still left within you, your system, your energies, any toxicity, simply be purified in this fire. Fire of a different kind of love that you feel towards yourself and towards everything, life, and whatever whatever kind of life you live, your passions, your work, your relationships, it leaks into all of it. It goes into all of these things. This fire, this which is burning, and we spiritual circles call furnace of love. Again, an arbitrary term, a symbolic, metaphoric term. There is no fire as such. Symbolic fire. There are two main purifiers in the elemental world of this planet: fire and water. Water cleanses, it cleans, and also does so many other things. But fire just purifies. Just like impure gold is put into the furnace, and when it is done, taken out, you get 24 karat gold. So this process of at Heart Center, we'll talk in detail about all of this some other time, but I'm just referring to all of these things. Then you come out as 24 karat gold. Spiritually 24 karat gold. And then from there, literally you feel that you are on a golden path. Because you have done a lot of work. You have braved so many storms. You have successfully passed so many periods of isolations, solitudes, where you allowed yourself to cook from within. Now you understand peace is. Now you understand what silence is. Now you understand what consciousness is. All of these things give you a golden perspective. If you have reached till this far, and in this episode, we'll only talk about till here on these subjects. If you have questions, you can ask. Otherwise, you can later also ask me on my Instagram messages. I will save this video and it will be there for later um, references also. Okay, little bit of music again, and I'll see what happens after this. The raga I was playing before is called Nasika Bhushanam, and it is a Carnatic raga. Nasika means nose and abhushan of the nose, the ornament of the nose. Carnatic music has very beautiful titles of ragas. One of them is this Nasika Bhushanam, and I love it. It has so many interesting phrases, and the ascending and descending aroha, you love it. Thank you for joining this episode. Hope you liked If you have any feedback to give, anything to share, let me know in the message box or in the comments. We'll do another session some other time. I'll announce the second episode for this season. Ask Amano, opening windows worldwide. Watch for it. Hope to see you again next time. Thank you so much.